Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're even thinking about moving a car to or within the Gulf, you're going to want to stick around. There's this one document that can literally make or break your entire plan. It's basically your car's official passport, and it's called the Vehicle Clearance Certificate. So, let's dive into what it is and why it's so incredibly important. All right, so picture this. You're making the big move to a GCC country. You've got the visa sorted, maybe you found a place to live, the job is lined up, but then you get to that one big question mark. What do you do about your car? Leaving it behind is tough, but shipping it, wow, that can feel like a huge, complicated project. And why does it feel so complicated? Well, because it often means staring down a mountain of red tape, hitting unexpected delays, and just a whole lot of confusion. It's honestly enough to make anyone second-guess the whole thing. But there is a way to cut right through all that noise. I like to call this the Gulf Car Challenge. See, every country has its own unique set of rules, and getting your vehicle legally from point A to point B requires some serious planning and, you guessed it, the right documents. It's definitely a hurdle, but it's one you can absolutely clear if you know what you're doing. Now, the key to solving this whole puzzle, it really comes down to a single, very specific document that customs officials are going to be looking for. This is the one thing that stands between your car getting stuck at the port for weeks and you cruising down a new highway. And that document is the Vehicle Clearance Certificate, or VCC for short. The easiest way to wrap your head around it is to think of it just like a passport, but for your vehicle. It's the official stamp of approval that lets your car cross borders legally, no questions asked. So let's get official for a second. What is it really? A VCC is a mandatory legal document. Mandatory is the key word there. This isn't optional. If you want to import or export a vehicle within any of the GCC countries, you have to have one. It's what certifies that your car meets all the local rules and is cleared for travel. So yeah, just think of the VCC as the official green light from customs. It proves that all the checks have been done, all the T's are crossed, and all the I's are dotted. It turns what could be a massive red light of delays and problems into a clear, open road ahead. Okay, so at this point, you're probably wondering, right, I get it, but do I actually need one of these? And the answer is, well, it applies to a much wider range of people and businesses than you might think. This isn't just for big commercial businesses. Of course, car dealers and exporters need it for their inventory. Same goes for companies that are shipping a whole bunch of vehicles at once. But and this is the important part for a lot of you, it also applies to any individual who's relocating and just wants to bring their personal car along for the ride. Okay, so you figured out you need one. What's the next step? Well, let's walk through the actual process of getting your vehicle cleared. It involves a few key stages you'll have to go through. This whole path to clearance really has 4 main steps. It all starts with document verification, making sure every single piece of paper about your car and your ownership is perfect. Next up is the formal application, where you go for all the necessary approvals. Then you have to ensure you're in full compliance with specific GCC customs regulations. And finally, you hit the final processing stage that gets you that all-important clearance. Now, just looking at that list, you can probably see where things might get a little complicated. And this brings up a really big decision you have to make. Do you try to tackle all of this on your own, or is it better to get some professional help? Let's take a look. You can see there are 2 very different paths you can take here. The DIY route, sure, you could do it, but you're opening yourself up to potential delays, tons of documentation hassles, and trying to navigate all those complex regulations by yourself. On the other hand, working with an expert means quick processing, hassle-free approvals, and guidance from people who have done this 1,000 times. It's a pretty stark contrast. Because at the end of the day, what's the ultimate goal here for anyone shipping their car? It's a hassle-free experience. You want to be focused on starting your new chapter, not buried under a pile of confusing paperwork. That's the dream. So what do you really get from a specialized service? First off, you're tapping into their direct experience with GCC export rules, which is huge for avoiding common mistakes. This almost always leads to a much faster, smoother process, and that means you're not paying for costly delays while your car just sits at the port. So, let's bring it all home. The Vehicle Clearance Certificate isn't just some random piece of paper. It is the key. It's your ticket to making your vehicle's move to or within the Gulf as smooth and predictable as possible. Getting this right from the start will save you so much time and so many headaches down the road. So, As we wrap up, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. As you're planning your own future in the Gulf, is your car ready for its journey too? Because with the right approach and the right documents in hand, it can be just as ready for a new adventure as you are. Thanks for watching.